Yeah, Nico, that's so sick.
All right.
Welcome back to the Make It a Double podcast. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know that we usually start by recapping our week, have a trade-up challenge that we usually have some updates for, and usually have a topic that we want to discuss. But we're back after quite a hiatus. So
Quite a hiatus for sure.
we're just going to chat and catch up. I'm Michael. You're with my brother Nico. How's it been?
It's been good. Happy to be back. Before we get going, we got to do our traditional cheers, though, right?
But I got to do a cheers.
Better got to do it. Cheers, brother.
What are you drinking?
Maker's Mark and Coke. Really creative.
I tried to make an old fashioned. It's just not hitting, but it's High
New
West.
fashion?
What?
Just new fashion?
Yeah. Old and busted. New hotness.
So I told Julie I was going to go down to the bodega and get some cocktail stuff so that we could have a drink together for this. And I got down there and I was like, what should I get? And there's like this guy behind that works there every night. He's this kind of old grumpier guy. And he looks at me and goes, well, you got at least 20 minutes because I'm closing right at 10 o'clock. Dead serious. Like he thought maybe I was going to take 20 minutes.
Like, how does that make you feel knowing that you're the guy that walks in, apparently just with a face going, oh, this guy's going to be fucking forever?
Yeah. I was like, I really should have thought about this before I got here.
You walked in looking lost. Like, all right, dude, you got 20 minutes. I'm closing
You've got
up.
20 minutes and then I'm out of here.
And then you're going to have to go hang out at the laundromat across the street.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly. So, I think that the last episode we had was the live episode in Long Beach. And fuck, does that feel like it's been a really long time?
It's because it has. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think you told me yesterday when we were talking about, okay, we're gonna do this. You said it was April 5th or 2nd?
Second. April 2nd.
Yeah. So a lot has happened in the last, time
multiple
spent
months.
Several months. It's September 3rd now, so 5 months or so. But I think it's appropriate to give a little bit of a update. There's a lot different going on in your life. There's a lot different going on in my life.
Yeah. So on my Instagram, if I go back to April 2nd, the picture that I posted was when I was out there and we went to the lighthouse and took pictures of the shoreline and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
really?
so
that was
on April 2nd that I posted it.
Nice.
Which I think makes sense because it would have taken you a day or so to edit the episode. But I mean, since then, as I scroll through this, like I have been taking pictures for Vittoria. So when I was out there, I was still with this tech company, but I was trying to build up kind of the photography business and the side business. And through people that we know, I actually booked like the biggest deal that I've had to date, and on like a recurring subscription type thing where I was taking photos for their Instagram, and then there was a separate add-on service where I was actually managing the Instagram, engaging with their community and similar accounts and doing the posting and captions and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm still working with them, and that's been really, really great. And it's kind of helped me create like a model that I would like to get a couple of other clients on. Have been doing the photography and Fervency Media stuff full time for, I think, since the beginning of July. So about 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I recently got back from Alaska where we shot some engagement photos.
Take a minute for that. What did you go to Alaska for, and how was it?
So it was our buddy Spencer, one of the original dozes from high school. He's got engaged not too long ago, and they were going to get married in Alaska, but then started thinking about the logistics of getting everybody up there, and where they were actually thinking of getting married is actually kind of a distance from the airport. And so I mean, similar to your wedding, but I think they just thought about it and was like that, especially with COVID, they were like, "This just sounds like it's gonna be a nightmare." So they're like, "Let's just get married in Salt Lake," and Skylar and I were actually over at their house having dinner, and selfishly, I was like, "Well, if you're not gonna get married in Alaska, we should go shoot the engagement photos in Alaska," because they had already decided that I was gonna shoot their engagements, and they were like, "That's actually a really good idea." And then we started talking about it. I was like, "Honestly, you buy my flight out there, I'll shoot your photos. That's a fair trade." And so
Awesome.
they flew me and Sky out there, and, Alaska is absolutely magic. Like, there's no other way to describe it.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Man, the photos that you posted on Instagram, just the few that you've done so far, it looked incredible for sure. It looked
Y
like just an amazing trip, and you captured some amazing footage, and I'm really happy you got to do that. Looked so
Yeah.
cool.
It was very, very, like, not validating, but it gave me tons of credibility because, like, telling people that I have, got flown to Alaska to take photos, and then, it just gave me access. Like, I feel like I am getting better as a photographer. Like, I just talked to some of our friends at dinner tonight about this, how, like, they were like, "Look at your pictures from a year ago and where you are now," and it's a lot of growth, and I think that's just most things, you get better with practice, but, it also really helps when you can go stand on the edge of a cliff in Hatcher Pass, Alaska.
Sure. I
So,
mean, but I mean, I wouldn't cut yourself short because obviously I'm not a photographer, but when I look at your work, it really does look really polished and professional. And I mean, shit, even those magazine little edits you did,
yeah,
they looked editorial to me.
those hit the explore page.
Yeah.
Those are I think some of my first photos to ever, because Instagram's analytics will tell you, like, of the engagement you got on a post, where it came from, and I've been working with somebody who actually has been helping me with my hashtags, and so I'll get, like, 1,500 impressions just from hashtags, which is huge. That's something we could probably cover in another episode, especially with how weird Instagram is being lately, but, um, the picture of Spencer alone and then the couple's picture both hit the explore page, and it was only, like, 9 or 10 impressions, but it was cool to see that, like,
Yeah.
my photos hit the explore page, and that's how some people found me. And then also, I don't know when this started, but, um, at the very bottom of the analytics, if you click on a single post and you click on those analytics, it'll say follows, like, how many people followed you because of that post,
Hmm.
and every single picture from Alaska is, like, 4 or more. 4, 5, 6 followers from a single post.
So did you choose to promote those then to
No,
try? You should, right? Like
I definitely should
if
have.
you see a photo that's like performing well, don't you want to like push the spend money button?
Yeah, that probably would have been smart.
So would you, you know, there's you obviously have seen a difference in the quality of your photography and the quality of your work from 1 year ago. If you were giving advice to a photographer or yourself from 1 year ago and they wanted to improve what they were doing, like what do you think has been the biggest difference or what would be your suggestion to kind of take it to the next level that's really made the change from 1 year ago to today?
Um, Practice for sure. I mean, I bought a pack of, like, base sets, so, like, they're kinda like presets, but they're not, one-click edits. It sets kind of a tone for the photo, and then you still have to adjust shadows, exposure, highlights, contrast. Like, you still have to adjust everything. It just mostly gets me a start on the colors that I want.
So it's the
Um,
edit that you think has been the best
no,
improvement.
so that's a piece of it, and then I think that knowledge of what different lenses actually do to a photo has definitely increased, um, especially shooting portraits, like the maternity photos I shot for Harry and Emily, and these engagements I shot, both were with telephoto lenses, and I had heard about telephoto lenses and compression that comes from that, and it's a little bit of a cheat code. Like, it makes that background look so, like, big and it just basically, if you have a person and mountains way off in the distance, telephoto lenses shrink that distance and then, like, blurs out that background really nice. So it just it makes your subject pop
Mm.
more so than just shooting with a high aperture. Um, and so the knowledge of lenses and then like renting lenses that I can't afford for specific shoots, that's been a game changer. Instead of just shooting everything with my Nifty 50 and calling it good, being like, okay,
Right.
I'm shooting some portraits. I want them to have this look. I'm going to go rent this lens. Um,
So you
and
kind of have
then,
a thought of like, this is the creative vision I have. How, what equipment do I need? What editing style am I going
yeah,
to use to achieve that kind of a thing?
yeah. And so, like, if I think about a year from now or a year ago to now, a year ago, I was just so focused on like getting the exposure right. Like, I just wanted to make sure that I used the camera correctly and I was getting a photo. And then I started focusing a lot more on composition, like how like the angles that I'm taking the photo at. And then I
Hmm.
feel like the next level above that is like I was saying, more knowledge of the equipment. Like not just I have a camera, I can go shoot photos, but being like different lenses are going to get you a different look. Like shooting it yeah, anyway. So no equipment and then composition and then yeah, so it's just kind of leveling up one thing after another. Like I feel like the next level above where I am now would be having an assistant that if I feel like the highlights are too blown out, holding up a big white diffusion thing over the couple and or having an off-camera flash to make sure that I get like if I had an off-camera flash that I could have set up so that when I snapped the photo it just put a flash on the couple, it would have been very similar to the photos you saw, but they would have been just like
Right.
do you remember when you helped me at that wedding?
Totally. I was just
Yeah.
about to say, hey, if you need to fly me to Alaska
Yeah,
or any of these exotic places, just let me know.
deal. I will work you into the contracts. I can nerd out about camera stuff a lot, but I feel really good about the growth because it's not something that I was naturally good at, and I can't think of any other example in my life where I was, like, bad at something and then wanted to be good at it, like, bad enough that I kind of persevered through being shitty at it because that's mentally hard to do.
I mean, that is a huge thing for anyone who wants to accomplish something or that has a goal or a vision of what they want in their life. First of all, it's hard enough just to even know what you want in this life. But once you
Yeah,
realize that this is what I want, spending the time and the energy and the effort and the hours to get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better to the point where you're at. And obviously you feel like there's even more you can do, but
totally.
it's very, it's got to be rewarding, and you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel really good about it. I'm really excited I mean, if I look at the past year to now, and if that kind of trajectory of growth continues, year from now, year and a half from now, 2 years from now, I will be very, very happy.
Yes, absolutely.
Those magazine edits we
That
were
was not
talking
a
about,
joke.
absolutely. Um, those
That's an
magazine,
inside joke for those of you who don't know, because in previous episodes, I just said absolutely about 15 times.
um, those magazine edits that I put on Instagram that I don't know why I took a picture of Erin and her hair was kind of covering her face and like you couldn't really see anything other than like shoulders up and then like a ton of blue. It just gave me this really editorial magazine cover vibe. And so I don't know, it just popped into my head and I hopped into Canva, Googled magazine cover. They have a bunch of templates. I just changed the fonts to ones that I liked better. I moved a couple of things around, added a barcode and posted it. And they were like, oh shit. Like that's actually pretty fucking because she didn't like the picture. She's like, yeah,
Mm,
I showed her the picture of like the hair in her face. And she's like, I don't love that. And then I edited it and she was like, okay, like that's a pretty good picture. And then I did the magazine cover and she was like, okay, like you've really done something there.
yeah.
And then later we were at a brewery and I made one of Spencer. No, 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 no. I hadn't done that yet. We were at the brewery when I made the one of Aaron and we showed it to her and Skylar and I kind of had the same idea at the same time. We were like, what if like your save the dates were like the card that you get in a magazine
Mm,
or something, or like what if you kind of themed this like very editorial, very magazine vibe for like either your invites or your save the dates or something. And they were like, that's kind of cool. I hope I didn't spoil anything.
you better double check if we need to edit that part out.
Okay, I will. I mean, I
But
don't,
yeah,
even if they, I don't know, I don't think that's ruin anything. I'll still ask, but
yeah.
that
I
was really
mean,
cool. And it also made me realize the type of photography that I want to do, because I know that I love taking good photos and getting a response from people. I feel like I'm ranting about my photography, so I'll wrap this up. But um, I've not really had a direction for that. I just knew that I love taking photos. I knew that taking, photos for brands and products is like a way to do it. I love doing landscapes and stuff like that because they get a lot of engagement and it makes me look really cool and it's really fun to travel. But when I made those edits, I started really thinking about how much I would enjoy doing editorial work, stuff for magazines, fashion, stuff like that. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
That would be cool.
I would really love to do that. And then at the same time, kind of realized, well, like, we were there to take photos. Like, we had a specific plan. They had put together specific outfits, and that's part of the reason why the photos look so incredible. Like, it's very curated. There's a lot of intention behind it,
Mhm.
as opposed to like, I'm gonna go on a hike and hopefully snap some bangers.
Mhm.
So the other thing that I learned about myself on that trip, other than just, I think editorial work would be cool, is that I would really like to do a lot more stylized shoots that have a lot of intention behind them, like literally picking a Saturday, like having this vision for some photos that I want, and then getting a model to go out there with me, getting a makeup artist that I'll tag and everything, making sure that the wardrobe matches the feel that I'm going for, and picking a location that's really sick, and then actually like curating a photo, like building a set, designing a photo, and then snapping that perfect picture. And I would
Yeah,
love to do more of that as well. And with Halloween coming up and fall time, like,
that's your vibe.
yeah, already cooking. I've got some great ideas already.
Cool, man. Well, if you need a makeup artist, I do know one.
Who? That's so mean.
No,
I'm just
I'm
kidding,
just
Julie. Anytime.
yes.
Um, but yeah, I have some really, really fun ideas coming up.
Very good. Anything else you want to talk about for
Where
your updates or recaps since our last episode for all of our fans out there?
I mean, the biggest update is just that, like, yeah, photography is going super well. Freelancing. I need work. If anybody has any photo or video needs, I am available. At
Good.
Michael with a bunch of double letters. MIIKKAALL. That's my Instagram handle. MichaelKalitis.com. HotNewHipHop.com.
Is that a real website?
Trapbeats.com. You've never downloaded music illegally and had like the verbal watermark?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
I
just
forgot about that.
listening to a song at a party? HotNewHipHop.com.
That's the old days. That was like LimeWire.
Yeah. Or torrenting. Like,
Yeah. Do
I,
people still torrent?
I hope not. Probably movies and stuff.
I guess. But I don't understand. You just pay $10 a month and you have all the music in the whole world,
Yeah,
literally.
people don't like change. I mean, that's all my updates really. I feel like I traveled a bunch. Mom moved to Arizona, so we helped her. Then I went to Alaska. Then I went camping. That was just this last month, though. I'm sure so much has happened before then. Lake Powell was sick. I had shingles. That was terrible. I had to get a CT scan for the first time, like a month later. Everything turned out okay.
That doesn't sound fun.
No. But I mean, I'm looking at my Instagram, assuming that that's the best way to determine what's been going on in my life, because my camera roll is
That
not
might be a
helpful.
problem.
What? I mean, no. Oh, we went to Garth Brooks. That was sick.
Garth Brooks. That was
Our
cool.
friend is a hurricane refugee now. Ray moved to New Orleans for less than a month, and now he's back home because hurricane blew through Louisiana.
Shout out Ray, hurricane
Shout out
survivor.
Ray,
Our
our hurricane hurricane.
our fourth listener.
Yeah. So yeah, photography is going well. I shoot photos for two companies pretty regularly. I'm planning 2 launches for them right now. Anyway,
Nice.
things well. Nobody gives a shit about my photography. It's been 20 minutes. Let's talk about you.
Oh, me? I've been waiting 20 minutes for you to ask me that.
That's all the time we have. Curtains.
Nobody cares about Nikko. Thanks
Like
for
when
joining
Jimmy
us.
Kimmel invites Matt Damon on his show and then ends the show every time. Have you seen that?
Yes. I love that.
All right.
Anyways,
Cheers first before you talk.
before I talk, Michael's like, I'm going to need a drink for this. I'm empty.
Oof.
I
Should we
was
take a
cheers.
quick break?
Yeah, we'll give you a quick break, and then I'll give my updates. All right, welcome back from intermission. We've refilled drinks. At least I have. Michael still has not a real cherry. That is not a maraschino cherry.
Yes, it is. It's not a Luxardo cherry, which is what it's supposed to be.
That's what I meant to say.
Which is, I think, like a brand. I think they're brandied cherries.
Right. Can we have a cheers, though? All right. Cheers, brother. Okay.
Fuck, that's good.
I wish I had that. Mine's just a boring Maker's Mark and Coca-Cola.
I think I would rather. I didn't like this yesterday, but it is growing on me. But I do think I would rather have the Makers.
What is it?
It's just the cheaper High West whiskey, the American Prairie Bourbon.
Oh, that's
just,
still really good.
Yeah, a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys.
Nice.
Peter McKinnon, on one of his videos I watched recently, is drinking like a Woodford Reserve double-barreled something, and he described it as maple syrup. And so now I want to try that.
Gross.
I don't think it's actually maple syrup, because if that's what he wanted, he would have just bought like maple Jim Beam.
Oh, good Lord. Where does he live? Montana?
Canada. They're all every one of those YouTube creators that I follow are Canadian. Every single one of them.
That's a strange coincidence.
I don't think it is, because tons of actors and actresses are also Canadian. Shit tons of them.
I feel like it's like
Justin Bieber's Canadian.
How many people live in Canada? Like
less than the
600,000?
population of California.
Yeah.
That's real. I found out all kinds of Canada facts recently. There are more United States citizens that live north of the southernmost Canadian point than Canadians, because the southernmost point of Canada actually includes a little sliver of the top of California. So it includes Washington, Oregon, Montana, like all that.
Huh.
And over 90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the border. So it's just like this strip of Canadians, and then the rest of that is actual no man's land, wilderness.
Maybe we should go across the border and get some biscuits and gravy, eh?
Almost made it. Littering and somebody's gonna get that, at least.
Hopefully.
All right, we should probably just
record this podcast, otherwise we're gonna be here for like an hour and a half.
All right,
this is what our real conversation.
Let's hear about you now. Just kidding. Is there going to be more time for me to talk later? Or no, I'm just kidding.
We could just continue to listen to you talk. It makes it a lot easier.
No, I'm just trying to think of my favorite movie quotes. I'll just recite them to you, and then we'll call it an episode. I watched Like Mike like 2 nights ago.
That's good.
Doesn't hit the same as when we were like 14. No, it's a really weird movie.
The other night,
Crispin Glover is the creepiest actor in the entire world.
Is that the main actor?
No, the adult at the orphanage.
Got it.
I think that's his name.
It's so funny because the other night, me and Julie were in bed going to sleep, and we turned on Harry Potter, as we've done 150 other times, because it's now like our, I don't know.
But I've seen
lullaby. It's a lullaby. I've
seen first person that the theme of Harry Potter starts, and you subconsciously your CPAP goes on and you're out.
I just crash. The mask goes on and it's just snoozing from there. But I was thinking, I've seen this so many times, and I watch it with the subtitles on for whatever reason, because we try and keep the volume down, and I still couldn't recite it word for word. And I was thinking about how you used to recite Like Mike and Caddyshack from start to finish, word for word. And I was like, I forgot how incredible that is, actually. And not just recite it word for word, but like you would go into the characters.
Yeah.
Well, you gave your updates. I think it's fair to say, so this is our first episode back since April 5th or whatever we decided that was. And I think it's, you know, fair to give a an honest reason as to why we stopped. And I'll own up to it because it definitely was my fault.
And I was
We
not happy about it.
no, Michael didn't want to stop, and it was my decision, and it was a tough one for sure because 1 week went by and Mike was like, "Hey, we got to record the podcast," and I was like, "We're not prepared. We got to be prepared." And it was just procrastination, and then 2 weeks went by, and then 3 weeks went by, and I was like, "Look, I'm just not in a position in my life that I want to sit in front of a camera and record." And he was like, "Okay." I mean, to give you credit, you were really cool about like, "Look, I understand whatever you need." And
Well, I mean, I don't want to interrupt your flow, but like, I don't. It doesn't take much to be like. I just can relate to being like, I don't have the capacity for this. Like, mental, emotional, whatever you want to, whichever one of you. I don't have it in me to sit down and do this with you. And like, what am I gonna do? Be like, oh, come on. I don't know. So yeah, it was just like, all right, all good.
yeah.
Do what you need to do. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, no, and really it was like, looking back on when that happened, it was just I had so much happening, professionally in my life. So I had my full-time job, which was really getting very busy in the moment. I also was selling real estate, also full time. So I was basically doing two full-time jobs. And then we would record this, and I'm was editing it at nighttime, and I was overthinking the edit and overthinking the podcast, and all of it really boiled down to just me feeling just overwhelmed and burnt out in a professional way in general.
Yeah.
And, now looking back on it, um, I was clearly in like a rut. And like I spent a few weeks, months, who knows, just in this kind of a fog, it felt like. And, you know, I'm 33 years old, and I don't know that I've ever felt like, you know, I've had depression before, but I think I can honestly say, like, it yeah, obviously we all get just down sometimes and depressed, and it was like I have all of this opportunity. I'm doing better in my life than I've ever done in my career. I'm married, I'm happy, like everything seems like it should be great. Why do I
Hmm.
feel like shit all the time? And
I think that's when it becomes depression. When it's like, it's not anything you're doing or that someone else is doing. It's not even your situation. Like,
yeah,
sometimes it just takes over.
yeah, and like I mean, we were talking about this little offline, and I felt like, how honest do I want to be like on this podcast about how have been feeling or how I was feeling at the time. And I think I'm okay talking about it now just because I really do feel like felt I felt better this week than I felt in months, I feel like. And I think it's just taken that much time, and there's been a lot of change in my life recently. So I stepped down from my full-time salaried position, and I'm now selling real estate full time. Our dad, Mark, and I have decided to we've registered an entity. We're starting our own real estate team, the Colitis Group. So cheers to that. For those of you who don't already know it,
Me, Nico, and Dad are all self-employed,
self-employed, and
fun employed, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, and it was a little bit scary as it happened, but yeah, I was telling Julie and our neighbors the other day, we were sitting around, and this is the first time in my life since I was 13 years old that I haven't had an employer. So for 20 years, this is the first time I haven't had an employer, and it's all on me. So it's exciting and scary and everything in between. But, with all of that going down, I feel like I'm finally in a position where instead of it being a weight on my shoulders, it's exciting and refreshing. And um, yeah, I'm just really, really excited for what the future has in store, and it has me excited about
I'm excited
creating
about
my
this.
own. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm excited to for this next chapter for you because, um, kind of in tandem with always having an employer, like I just feel like that ties really closely into your personality as a whole. Like you're the type of person that kind of gets fulfillment from serving and from working and like having a purpose, and like if that purpose is your wife or your family or your job, like you like being useful, like you
Hmm.
like being helpful, you like having a job and doing a good job, and
Yeah, and I think that's what's honestly been been a little bit of the struggle in the transition is because I've had an employer for 20 years and I've always taken my jobs very seriously, you know, it comes from my need to serve, right? My need to serve others, my need to to fulfill my obligation. Um, and I'm sure a lot of people who've started their own business or have an entrepreneurial endeavor have this feeling that it's like, okay, you don't have anyone expecting something from you. You are setting your own expectations,
yeah,
which is good and bad because even though I had a lot of autonomy in my position for the last 3 years, I still had an employer and knew that there was something expected of me. And so I was able to deliver on it.
yeah,
Um,
and that's tough because that goes kind of very against, well, not against, but like it's in the same realm of something that we talked about in one of the episodes, um in the first season, we'll call it, where we both kind of feel like it's like any habit we were trying to build or anything like that, like I find it really easy to let myself down. Like I find it really easy to
hmm
talk myself out of important tasks. Like I can like lie and cheat myself out of success and stuff like that. Like I can let myself down super easy, but having an accountability buddy like you, or like, whatever other things we were going to put in place that make the stakes higher than just letting ourselves down, was helpful. And so like I feel like that's what makes being entrepreneurial extra tough for us, is because, we both seem to be pretty extrinsically motivated.
hmm
And so that's where I think being self-employed for us is going to be challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that we have to keep into consideration. Luckily, like, you know, our dad's been pretty self-driven and,
Yeah, totally.
owned his own companies and managed his own things. So he keeps me on track and, we have a really great partnership in that, he does a lot of really great things that I don't have and I do a lot of really great things that he doesn't have. And so I think it's going to be really successful. So far so good. But
And soon, when you guys need photo and video work for the houses you're selling.
yeah, we already need some help. I need you to get out here and take we need some lifestyle shots. I need some
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'll
bangers
do
for the
that.
gram.
We're gonna be out there for Julie's premiere on weekend of the 25th.
Perfect.
I just have to find somebody that I trust to watch the dog.
All right. Well, if there's anyone listening that really loves a 200-pound black German Shepherd,
83 pounds, we went to the vet 2 days ago.
just kidding. But
83
yeah,
pounds, I thought he'd be more. I think Cole's dog probably
only
weighs more now.
83?
Yeah, he's all fluff, I guess.
Wow. I would think he'd be at least 100 pounds. It's a big dog.
He's tall, he's long. He's like me. He's me in dog form.
Yeah.
Lanky.
Anyways,
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
no, no, no.
I tend to derail a conversation.
I just wanted to kind of give some insight to the
Where we been?
where we've been and kind of why it stopped and how we're going to, you know, I've taken the time to, so there's the good thing about taking time off and and getting into a rut is you can use these experiences as opportunity. And I've learned that in this transition that, for whatever reason, whether, you go through a feeling of, you know, a rut or whatever, you're having
Yeah.
downtime to use it as an opportunity. And I think that this is going to be a springboard for not only my business, but also I think for this podcast, and give us more time and more opportunity to cultivate this into originally what we wanted it to be. And more than just a chance for us to chat and connect and create something together, hopefully building something that, we can be very proud of. I mean, I'm already very proud of it, but
Yeah.
something that is helpful to others and helpful to us. And yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I see this, and we've even gone back and forth about what this is supposed to be, and even when we do want to talk about productivity and stuff like productivity tips and stuff like that, like it's not because we're experts and we have we're going to teach a class via podcast. It's that you and I are just like insatiably curious about getting better and improving ourselves, and like it's just in our DNA that we've literally always tried to get a little better and stuff like that. And so I see this as when we talk about that, that's like you and me in the process of learning those things ourselves. And so if people can listen in on it, be a fly on the wall, they can kind of learn with us.
Hmm.
And I want to look back 5 years from now, hundreds of episodes from now, and be like, we've documented the come up,
Hmm.
like I want to document. I mean, that's kind of why I started making YouTube videos. And a little update: I made 2 YouTube videos,
Hey.
and then took a week off. But the "What's in My Bag" video coming soon. Because I do get asked that a lot. I've had so many of you ask. Anyway, I do. Anyway, um, that's what I see this as, is like being able to look back and be like documenting where we started, having a vision of where we're gonna go, and then when we're either there or closer to there, being able to listen to all of that and watch all of that and
Totally.
look
Absolutely.
back on all of that. That's what I want this to be. So when we do talk about productivity or, habit building or, softwares and technologies that we use to try and make us more efficient, like all of those things aren't because we're experts and people should learn from us. It's that we're in the middle of it, like come be in the middle of it with us and like as we go.
Yeah. So I do have a productivity tip. Well, probably not a tip, but a comment, little segue. I finished a book today on the way driving to the office, and it's a pretty popular book, but I've always thought it was really dumb. Um, and I had an Audible credit, and it was like at the top of the list in like the business productivity section. Um, have you read Unfuck Yourself?
No,
I mean,
I think
it
Sky has. I
it's
know a lot of people have.
it's really good. Now, I'm not saying that I read it because I feel like my life is fucked or anything. I just think that I think I was actually like halfway through it and had finished a different book and was just trying to go through and finish all my Audible books that I hadn't finished yet. But damn, it was really, really good. I thought I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, and I think you really would like it. Basically, it talks a lot about self-talk, and that's something that I've really learned about myself in the last few months that I didn't think was a issue, but I never really like listened to my own thoughts. You know what I mean? Like we all have an internal
Yeah,
conversation. We have subconscious thoughts that really control our actions, and it talks a lot about that. Um,
Sky and I were just talking about this because I feel like I have a very, very strong inner monologue to the point where, like, I often, every single day, have actual conversations, like back and forth, like my thought, response from my inner monologue, another thought, kind of response from my inner monologue. And like I was telling Skylar, like, how how bizarre it gets sometimes where it feels like I'm talking to another person, not another personality or anything. Just like I have a very strong inner monologue, so much so that it like narrates everything I do and comments on everything I do. And even like when I'm trying to make a decision, it's like there's me kind of thinking about it, and then that inner voice also thinking about it. And Skylar was like, everybody has an inner monologue. I was like, first of all, not everybody. Some people don't have one. They can't hear their own thoughts.
I didn't think I did until I started trying to cultivate like thinking about how I feel. Like, what do I want? Why am I feeling this way? What do I even feel? And what, just thinking about my own thoughts. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, I don't have that inner monologue that
That's
just
so
comes
crazy.
naturally.
My whole life, it's been loud, like,
Yeah.
loud in my head constantly.
Well, I mean, I have thoughts, obviously. It's
I
just
yeah,
not
no.
like a stream of conversation, or I'm realizing that I'm having an inner monologue. I have thoughts, and I don't know. But my point that I'm trying to make is it, it gives, like, he has like seven statements to live by or whatever, that um to help change your inner thoughts or your monologue, or to your self-talk. And I found it really helpful. And I thought about reading off one chapter, not one full chapter, but like it's like a page and a half, um that's at the end of the book, called "You Are Going to Die," but it's a little too
Memento
deep.
mori.
Yeah, kind of like that. But yeah, I'll send you. I have the text, and I'm gonna send it to you because I found it like, damn, that's deep, and I found it very helpful. But basically, it's saying, it's not anything you haven't ever heard before. But like, if you're lying on your deathbed, you're not gonna regret the things you didn't achieve or the stuff that you didn't do. You're only gonna regret the stuff that you didn't try and do that you wanted to.
Yeah.
you know all of the books that you read, all of the smart ideas that you had, all of the plans and things you put together, all of our productivity tips that we have suggestions on and never act on, those are
Mhm.
the shit you're going to think about if you're fading away and about to die.
This
And
is so funny. Sorry,
it
go ahead.
really hit home for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's very, very relevant because when I think about that concept or like memento mori or anything like that, the number one thing that I was most scared of and that was always getting in my way is just this like deep, deep, deep fear of being humiliated, which was very closely tied with codependency,
Hmm.
which only up until a couple of years ago I realized was the core problem to like all of my other problems. I didn't have any self. I didn't have a sense of self. I had no identity if I wasn't with other people. Like when I was with a group, I knew where I belonged in the group. If I had a significant other, it was me and the significant other. Like I just was very, very dependent. And you helped me through this in 2018. Like there were people in my life that like I could not detach from, and
Hmm.
I couldn't even imagine a world where I was like just me.
Hmm.
And then that was like this huge red flag where that was a problem. And so what helped me is starting to realize like imagine none of these people that you're scared of losing exist. And I went like a weekend where I just pretended none of them existed. And I was like, this sounds darker than it is, but it's like I was like, damn, like the world keeps turning. I can stand on my own 2 feet. Like I'm a whole person. Like I'm a be all right. Kind
Yeah.
of like when the earthquake happened and I was like crumbling and you like snapped me out of it. You're like, Michael, you need to realize that like you'll be all right.
Yeah.
If you're all scared and flustered like this, like you're not going to stand a chance if something bad does happen. Like so you need to just recognize you're strong, you're smart, you're going to get through whatever. And I was like, "Damn, you're right." And so when I think about like when I'm lying on my deathbed, I'm going to be so mad at myself if like fear of what other people are going to think or like what if people make fun of me for trying or like what if I make this YouTube video and people make fun of me like if that's literally the only thing that stopped me, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. So, long way of saying that, like, the rest of my life started when A, I liked the person looking back at me in the mirror, but B, I realized that he can stand on his own 2 feet and he's a whole person. And even if he lost everything that he thought was his whole world, like the sun will go down and then come back up, and then you go make new friends, you go find, you know, another job, like what all the things that I felt I like were my identity are not. And like that
Right.
finding that sense of self was very, very helpful.
Yeah. I mean, that is truly amazing. And
I
um
was just talking about that tonight at dinner, which is crazy, which is what that why that all was connected.
Yeah, no, it is very connected. It's absolutely connected, and it's something that, I've been thinking about a lot lately too. And it's funny, I saw a thing on Instagram. It was like a meme or something of some guy holding a sign,
Hmm.
Maybe you saw the same
Yeah,
one.
well, the same. It's the guy. It's his whole account. The guy with the sign.
Anyways, it says, "Hey, that thing that you're really struggling with right now, you're gonna get over it, just like that other thing that you got over."
Yeah, I saw that today as well. And also, there's another thing going around. I've seen it both in posts on Instagram and like as audio on TikTok, where it's just the whole concept of like, what if it turns out better than you ever imagined?
Yeah,
And I love that because I feel like so many people go, well, what if, but bad.
yeah,
And then I like the counter, like, what if it turns out better than you're even imagining?
yeah. And it's yeah, so deep. I was listening. I'm almost through. After I finished that book, I continued listening to "The Obstacle Is the Way" by your guy. What's his name?
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the author?
Ryan Holiday,
Ryan
my
Holiday.
hero.
Yeah, so we were went for a run today, me and Julie, and I listened to that book on my run because I'm strange and don't listen to music, but like audiobooks when I'm running.
Yeah.
And the part that I was on is I don't remember the chapter, but it was uh, about Edison and his shop that he had built. Like he spent
Yeah.
like 15 years
Yeah.
building this amazing factory of all of his inventions and paperwork and everything that he's built for 15 years, and it started to burn down, and he had his son with him. And
And what did he, and then he's, sorry, you can say it.
no, 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 you can say it because I probably will butcher it, but he told his son something like, "Go get your
He's,
mom and all of your brothers and sisters. They're never going to see a fire like this." Like,
yes, dude.
instead of being like, "Fuck, my life's work for 15 years has just burnt to the ground," he said,
He
"I
said,
can't
he said,
change
gather
that.
everyone, like gather
Gather
everyone. They're
gather
never going to
everyone."
see a fire like this.
Right. Which
To
is
me, that, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. You're right. I mean, it's incredible because the ability to have your whole world literally burn to the ground, and in that moment have a level of acceptance that this is my moment. There's nothing I can do to change this. I just need to
Amor fati.
yeah, I need to appreciate it.
Um, so yeah, I
That's
definitely
what it
see how
was.
that.
Amor fati. Love everything,
Mhm.
even the bad shit.
I definitely see how that ties into what we were just talking about. But that Thomas Edison part, something that really comes to mind when I think about it is the separating things that you can control and things that you cannot control. Because I've had like debilitating anxiety my whole life, so much so that I feel like I used to take on a lot of other people's burdens. And like, if there was someone I cared about, like it would consume me, and just like I would really, really get like really worked up, and like my brain would get in knots
Hmm.
over all kinds of stuff. And like 99% of it, I didn't actually have any control over.
Right.
And COVID actually helped me conquer that because I just came face to face with it. And I just got to this point where I had to go like, I don't have any control over that.
Right.
And I never used to be able to do that. But like, so that's what that his shop burning down means to me is he's like, yeah, he could sit there and wither and wallow and he doesn't have any control over it. Like, it's on fire. I can't
You
put it.
can't.
I
Yeah, you
can't go
can't.
back in time. Like it's already on fire. Go get everyone. This fire's fucking huge. Like,
Yeah,
but
you're never gonna see a fire like this.
oh, it's the Amor Fati coin from
Oh,
Ryan
nice.
Holiday,
I didn't.
and so
I don't
it's a
know about.
fire.
Explain it because I don't know what this
So
means.
the Amor Fati coin and the symbol for Amor Fati is a fire. Another quote from one of the Stoics is that like everything you throw into a fire becomes fire. So everything that happens to the fire becomes part of the fire. It consumes everything in its path. And so when you think about challenges and obstacles that come your way, like instead of thinking about like these things are happening to the fire, you just turn those things into, so you're the fire,
Yeah.
and everything that happens to you becomes part of the fire. So you don't waste time like this was a good thing that happened to me. This was a bad thing that happened to me. It's a thing that happened and now it's a part of you. And so the back of the coin says not merely to bear what is necessary, but to love it.
Right.
Like like beyond just accepting what happens, but like being super thankful for what happens.
Yeah. I'm really learning a lot about Stoicism and what Ryan
Can you
Holiday
see why I'm
teaches.
so fucking amped on it?
Yeah, and I was not a fan to begin with, to be honest. I'm like, this is some fucking feel
Because
good
it seems
bullshit.
very fluffy, very lovey
It's
dovey.
very
Everything's, yeah.
fluffy, but it's real. And maybe I needed to have some real shit to feel like it made sense to me, but it really does, and it applies to everything in your life.
It hit me at the right time, and so whenever it hit you, it makes sense. So I had tried to get through that book, which I've still not actually finished, for so long. And I gave it to Spencer, and he finished it on the plane. I asked him how many books he speed reads. I
Oh,
showed
man.
him a meme, and he went like this. He went, I went, "You didn't read that?" He's like, "Yeah, I did." And he like recited it back to me. I was like, "How the fuck did you read that fast?" And then I went, "How many books have you read?" And he said, "I don't know, a few thousand."
Jesus.
And I called him a liar loudly on the airplane. And he's like, "There was summers where I read like a few hundred books." It's like,
Wow.
what?
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Cool.
he's an actual superhero.
He looks like a superhero in your magazine edit for sure. The one
Yeah,
of him in that jacket on the
dude,
top
I
of a
asked him for
mountain.
so long who makes that goddamn jacket, and he wouldn't tell me. And then I finally checked the tag, and it's just like made in this place. I'm like, there's not even a name on it. Like, what? Are you the Joker? You made your own clothes?
I killed a sheep for this jacket and sewed it together
Spoiler alert,
myself.
Spencer. It's by a company called Overland. He did eventually tell me, and we tagged them in a picture. He's like, because we took the couples photos, and he's like, "Can you get some of just me in this jacket? I kind of want to tag Overland." I was like, "Yeah, I can do that for sure." Dude, you wait till you see the rest of these photos. I've only posted like 5 pictures from Alaska.
I love it.
I have memory cards full of photos.
I can't wait.
Speaking of stoicism, Tuesday is my first appointment to finish my sleeve, and the whole elbow to wrist is going to be all philosophy, not just stoicism specifically, but
Sick.
it's going to be so sick.
So I'm going to be in your neck of the woods 1 week from today, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Julie's cousin is going to give me a tattoo.
Hell yeah. Can you squeeze me in?
Why is it always about you?
Everything's about me.
Can't you just be like,
Just kidding.
that's sick. I'm excited for you to get that tattoo. Can I come watch you get it?
Yeah, let's cut this out. I don't want people to think I'm an asshole. Just kidding. I keep saying that throughout the podcast, but we don't actually cut anything out. That's important for me to state. Yeah, Nico, that's so sick, dude. You're getting a tattoo? That's a good rewind noise, huh?
Yeah, that's like you should be a beatboxer.
Nope.
Do people still do that?
Yeah, there's a audio on TikTok that went super viral. There's the
Of a
one where it was like
beatboxer?
doo doo doom doom doom, and people would like say one thing, and be like, "Oh, something else." You see that trend?
No.
So like, I'm not gonna.
Please.
I'm not gonna. Please, gonna.
Please gonna. Need you to gonna.
I'm not gonna. I wanna gonna.
Oh Lord.
Oh. Swing and a miss.
All right. Well,
Season 2, episode 1. This has been fun. I appreciate the vulnerability, Nico. I actually like. I kind of wish you would have gone first, because I feel like the first half is me just bragging about how good I am at photography, and then like the whole second half is us going back and forth about this really good stuff. But I like how it ended up. So thanks for listening, everybody.